Yeah, hi everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to the Zeeve Tech Talk series for the month of February. My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Zeeve. Zeeve is a Web3 infrastructure as a service platform, and we have about 17,000 developers using the platform. And we enable all the different dApp builders, Web3 builders, Web3 protocols with Web3 infrastructure, whether it be shared APIs, full nodes, archive nodes, validator nodes, or decentralized storage. Today, we have with us Rahul Kaushik. Rahul is the founder of MetaWhale. MetaWhale is one of the most promising Metaverse project, and that too from India. So thanks, Rahul, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ravi sir, and the whole team of Zeeve for inviting me to this talk show and to learn it more about the specific topics that we are going to discuss now.
Yeah, so first, Rahul, just a brief about yourself and what you are doing at MetaWhale. And then, we can delve on deeper various topics within the Metaverse domain.
Perfect. So I started off my crypto as well as my blockchain journey in the year 2017. So the initial starting is not specifically onto the product side of building of a company. I started off my journey as a future trader and later on moved to a company by the name MetaWhale World. We have started this company last year in the month of October. And the major intention or the major objective of building MetaWhale World is to collaboratively form a community and also a product which is we have already launched the world's first NFT museum, which is there in the Metaverse. So we will initially be talking about the problems which are already being facing into the NFT marketplace as well as into the Metaverse space. So we have combined up all the problems and together we thought to solve it out. And now we have built up an NFT museum which is there in the Metaverse, which is currently being supporting 3 blockchains at this particular moment, where people can come, people can buy the NFTs, people can sign up the NFTs, and moreover, it took us almost 11 months of the time to build up the NFT museum, what we people have built. But now we are offering a custom solution, whereas if any company or an individual is looking out to build their own custom Metaverse, primarily we can build it for them like within 2 weeks of the time. Likewise, this is one of the vertical that we people have been working out for. In the coming 3 weeks, we are been also launching a whole together shopping mall into the Metaverse, where collaboratively, as on today, we have 9 clothing brands, which will be there, 2 automobile brands, where you can experience each and every clothing brands to its optimum level. The major difference, we all can buy up our clothing from like websites like Amazon and Flipkart, but the major change would be an experience part where your digital avatar can wear up the clothing, you can experience the same thing out, and after that, if you are comfortable, you can either pay via crypto and also you have an option of fiat also and can proceed. And this is one of the vertical that we people have been working out for. The another vertical would be the blockchain-based decentralized gaming, in which we people have built a game by the name MetaVeals, which is a blockchain-based decentralized game. And the third thing, what we people will be working out for in the near future will be the virtual properties buying and selling.
Right. No, I think that's very interesting, and a lot of exciting developments you have as part of your roadmap. So, Metaverse has been a major buzzword in last 2 years. And if you see, there have been a lot of reports about the promise of Metaverse. Like, Metaverse is going to be almost like 6 to 7 trillion or even more part of the economy by 2030, which is huge, which is like almost 5 to 10% of the world's GDP. And at the same time, some people still, when most of the people I've talked to, they talk about Metaverse, they talk about immersive experiences, virtual worlds where you have more immersive experiences. Now, if we see in the last 10, 15 years, VR, AR as a technologies have already been playing a pretty good role to create these immersive experiences. But it's only recently, in last 2 years, that Metaverse has actually been talked about. And that, I suppose, the major role is blockchain and Web3 combining with various other technologies. So first, where do you think is the role of AR, VR? That's one part. And then second, how blockchain is enabling the metaverse as we know today?
Certainly. So, answering the first question, talking more about virtual reality and augmented reality, these are the essential technologies which enable immersive experience, which Metaverse is promising. A lot of people ask, even to the elaborative side of this question, like what all skills will be required to build up a Metaverse, or what all skills are needed to build up the Metaverse. So, primarily, it's start from like building up the applications which are built on AR and VR, and also virtual reality is the essential for providing the experience into the digital space. Augmented reality serves as the reflection of the virtual world to the physical world, whereas XR VR technology play a vital role in increasing the engagement among the metaverse users, or moreover the experience part, because the most of the people who are coming down for this buzzword metaverse instead of other technology is the experience part which is being combined, whereas XR and VR and AR help us to enhance the experience part of to the same. Answering your second question about the blockchain as in the technology. So whenever we talk about the metaverse or any specific product which is behind it, let's just quickly talk about our product only, which is the NFT museum, which is there in the metaverse. So one of the key component is when we are combining the blockchain tech into it, like there might be a lot of projects. There might be in the near future, there might be a lot of clothing store, automobile store who wanted to pay in their own respective token. So this is one another medium there is one medium called as the fiat. There is another medium by their own native token. The third thing would be they wanted to pay via their partner token. So blockchain enables us to pay in the respective token, whereas fiat is already we are using since more than 2 decades. So with the help of blockchain technology only, we are able to pay in the tokens for any of the respective product.
Right. Yeah. So as you rightly said, so blockchain one is enabling through tokenization a whole financial economy within the metaverse. Because metaverse per se, if it's only experiences, then it pretty much becomes like an entertainment domain. But then if you want to extend metaverse into business domain and various other domains, then we do require various other pieces. So like decentralized identity, one of the tenet of blockchain is of paramount importance. So if you are entering a virtual world, you do require an identity, and that identity, what is better than having a cryptographic identity combined with your real world identity? And through that cryptographic identity, you are not just identifying yourself, but you can own an avatar, you can have different kind of assets linked to that avatar, you can do trading, you can do financial transactions, you can interact with others. So it opens up. So I think Web3 opens up the whole set of options whereby, not just consumers, but businesses, enterprises, everyone can participate in and generate value within the metaverse. Now coming to the NFT, let's say we have seen that gaming has been there for quite a while. And if you see RPG games, etc., they are, I would say, the precursors of metaverse, because they're you have virtual experiences, you create teams, you interact with each other, and then as part of a team, you are playing with other teams, you own assets. So when you say decentralized gaming, how or what kind of challenges decentralized gaming is solving as compared to the traditional gaming platforms?
Okay, certainly. So I'll give a quick example, like comparing a simple game which has already been there, comparing to a decentralized game which has been involved. So let's just say there's one popular game called as the PUBG, or maybe the Call of Duty, and we have n number of games which we all have played, be it GTA, and we all have loved it. That will be no doubt. But again, the most important thing is whenever we are playing any game, there are we can majorly classify any of the gaming individual into two categories. The first one would be any individual, a college student, or maybe anybody who loves to play game and might can go on to the higher level. Like currently I'm on level 5, I want to go on level 10, 20, 50. And likewise, if there's a car racing game, then I have a better high-end car which has been available. Maybe from to the start, I have a hatchback, then a sedan, then a super sports car. But ultimately, if I directly wanted to have a super sports car from level 1 from the day I have played, I usually pay in terms of gems, coins, or maybe the fiat money. This is the only option which has been available. Whereas this is the one kind of user who wanted to play game. There might be another kind of user who just wanted to play it for the experience. Let's just say I have a car racing game. Into the MetaWheels also, the same component is being applied. The more level you are on, the better your car will be. So the first kind of user is there for an experience. They wanted to go onto the respective level, giving their time. Another kind of player does not have the time, but directly wanted to drive a Lamborghini Huracan Evo right away as soon as he logged in. So into a traditional gaming, the only option which is being available is to pay via fiat and get onto a specific level or get onto a specific car. Whereas when we talk specifically about decentralized gaming, that is where the importance of the time which is given by individual who is playing regularly is being given. So considering an option, there's one individual who is playing games since last 60 days, and now he's currently on level 60, and he already have the same car which has been available. And I am on level 1, I directly wanted to drive a Lamborghini. So I can trade with the player who is already driving it, whereas the player who have already given up the time can exchange his time in terms of the money using the P2P protocol. Like there's one individual who is willing to buy, there is another individual who is planning to sell, and the transaction will happen right away. Whereas the most key important use case which is being there, the person who have invested their time is getting a real money which is being associated. Whereas into the traditional gaming, the only major chunk of the money is being given to the company who have built up the game. Here, this particular problem is being utilized. Whereas a lot of when we talk about gaming as in the full-time profession, it enables a lot of players all across the globe to play and get the real money which is being associated for their bread and butter also.
Right. No, I think that's a very interesting point. In-gaming assets has been a major challenge in the traditional games, where you, in a sense, you own the assets, but in a sense, you don't own the assets. And with decentralized gaming, now you have an absolute ownership of the assets. You can freely trade those assets even outside the game in a secondary marketplace. So that I think, I remember, earlier when you used to transfer assets, you actually used to transfer your account, your gaming account itself. You used to sell that, people used to sell that in Big Bang Theory, you sell it on an eBay, so you're selling your complete account itself. So of course, I think in-gaming asset is definitely one big thing here. Now, if we see the metaverse from user perspective, so one, we have end users or consumers who are going to get much better experiences and convenience because and then options to transact, and then there are a lot of phygital kind of models where they can combine the experiences of both virtual and real worlds. Now, the second dimension of the user is businesses who want to leverage metaverse for their business purposes. So what are the different use cases you see from a business perspective that businesses can use metaverse for their own businesses?
Certainly. So in most of the industries, metaverse is already been there. A lot of companies have started off their journey. A lot of companies have gone to an intermediate level, I would say the level 2. But talking about in general, what businesses can do, I'll quickly initially talk about the brands, then automobiles, and the list goes on. So talking about the clothing, the major challenge, what we all have faced, like we all are able to see a t-shirt or a shirt which has been there in any of the shopping site which has been available. But there is a last dilemma which is already there into our mind, how this particular t-shirt or shirt will look good on me or not. That is looking good onto a model which has already been there into a photo, but does this particular color will look good on me or not? So that is the primary question where the digital avatar will come into the picture. That is exactly looking as you're looking into the real world. So primarily that digital avatar can wear up the clothes and you can at least have an whole together imagination how exactly I look out. That is where the clothing brand can come into the picture. And also talking about a marketing activity which has been there, be it Gucci, Prada, Armani, which has been there. So primarily there is a set of audience who usually go walk in. There is again a set of population which is drastically been increasing who just wanted to shop in the metaverse only. This is one of the things which is specifically for the clothing brand. While talking specifically about an automobile brand, let's just say there is a supercar which is not yet launched in India, but planning to get launched in India maybe after 3 months or 4 months. So I want hold together an experience. How does it look like when I'm actually been driving it? So that particular experience is not possible into a traditional web experience. Whereas into the metaverse, you can primarily with your controller hold up the steering, can feel how the turbo is getting filled, how the acceleration, pickup, braking is getting filled, how the overall experience inside interiors of the car will be. So this is where an ultimate marketing experience will come into the picture. And this is again a very big space into the automobile. Like prior even launching of the vehicle into a specific country or in a specific area, people are already been registering it, booking up the vehicle just because they have already loved the experience which they have already faced in the metaverse. Talking about these and talking about education, uh, we can host up the virtual conferences talking about entertainment. We can launch up the movies, art, shows, music videos. This is one another experience. Education plays again a very vital role. Then we have gaming. Then talking specifically about NFTs. NFTs come together in overview statement, whereas you can put up the ticketing part, you can do logistics. There might be a lot of options which are being available. It's just that whole together the industry is waking out for the bigger adoption of the metaverse space, so that people are getting educated, people are getting adopted to the same. Likewise, education will play a very vital role in the bigger adoption of the metaverse. And likewise, as far as the concerned momentum is being concerned, it will drastically be increasing day by day.
Right. Oh, I think that's very interesting. So there are quite a few businesses, in fact, in banking and financial services also. Customer support itself is a big area. Onboarding of customers, especially in the banking domain, people are now trying out creating virtual branches. So I think based on what you just said, all the virtual walkthroughs that we used to have, whether in the case of real estate or
Yes.
customer support areas, wherever you want to. So I think all those traditional 2D virtual experiences will be converted into more metaverse, more immersive experiences. So that's the second domain about the businesses, how they are utilizing metaverse. And then there's a third area where people who are building on metaverse. So one is who are building metaverse itself, like MetaWhale being one of them. And then when we talk about a whole play to earn, and I think we can talk separately about the whole play to earn model. So where you have players who are participating in play to earn model, but at the same time there are a lot of guilds that came as a business model. With Axie Infinity, it became quite popular. And then there are a lot of people who are helping enterprises or businesses build experiences. So if somebody wants to buy a plot and build something within MetaWhale or any other metaverse, they would require some technical help to build those experiences. Maybe a design team, maybe a dev team to do that. So so please talk about some of these models which are coming around, which can help Web3 builders, because I'm sure there are quite a few people here today who are planning to see from a Web3 builder perspective, what are the opportunities within the metaverse space.
Certainly. So even we scratched our heads for around about 11 months. I'll be very precise onto the same, because initially we were not very clear onto the tech space also. And when we are clear up to the tech space, the use case which are being involved, once the use case has been clear, what all businesses needs to be targeted specifically after we built up the entire metaverse. So talking about the jobs would be in wider world, like there might be a lot of developers who are primarily wanted to work into this similar space and wanted to give their particular skill utilization. So there is a huge scope which has been involved, but talking specifically to a technology perspective, I think currently a lot of metaverses, even MetaWhale World, is being built specifically. A lot of the bigger chunk of the technology would be the Unity only, and not specifically Unreal Engine, is for a specific reason that whenever we are looking out for the candidates into the Unreal Engine type or specific domain, the candidates are very less and already been established into another companies and already doing a long-term contract which has been involved. So a lot of candidates who are there into the market are currently been working on to Unity and comfortable, and we are using Unity since more than half a decade or so. So finding candidates into Unity is very easy, where comparatively Unreal Engine guys are very hard to target out. So recently, this is the major challenge as in the company we people are being facing out. So currently being partnered up with one of the company who are specifically focusing onto the education part into the metaverse space, which is Lens, based out in Mumbai, and who is doing a program specifically for freshers also, and for to the company perspective also, that who are training employees who can get trained and get hired by the top companies which are there into the metaverse space. And MetaWhale World is one of the hiring partner for Lens.
Got it. So now just taking this further, play to earn concept came in, during COVID, it became very popular, where, a lot of guilds started happening, a lot of people started playing Axie Infinity, and in fact, and making handsome revenue out of it based on, they can cover their pocket money or even run their homes. So, and I think it has come a long way. There are hundreds of guild platforms today for various games. So, just a brief about what play to earn model is and how you are implementing this model at MetaWhale.
Okay, so at MetaWhales, specifically talking about our gaming, which is MetaWheels. So MetaWheels, the primary intention is whosoever is contributing up their time should be get rewarded into the real world money which has been associated. Though we are paying in our own native token, which you can exchange in any of the centralized exchanges as well as on decentralized PancakeSwap or wherever you want. So the primary intention of building it up, as discussed in the earlier example also, there might be a lot of college student, there might be a lot of school student who just play games for the sake of playing it, but just because they love of the experience. So collaboratively, as far as our particular analytical data is being concerned, whosoever plays MetaViews for round about 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day, can combine up a revenue which is not fixed, but in approx value somewhere starting from 12 USDT to 17 USDT in a single day. So this is what the key intention will be, and a lot of what we people have faced, there are very less player at this particular moment who are actually playing it. There might be a lot of people not specifically onto an investment side, but they are only looking out for driving up the Bugatti Chiron or the Lamborghini Evo right away as soon as they get logged into the game. And recently one of our NFT for Lamborghini Huracan only is being sold out at 3200 USDT, which any college student will get just because he just played our game since last 1.5 months. So collaborative, I think for anybody who's playing up a game for 45 days only and getting a revenue of 3200 USDT is a handsome amount for that particular college student which has been involved. So that was the initial key sovereign statement, that whosoever is playing should be get rewarded into a real world money which is being associated. Whereas if anybody have the money who just are looking out for the experience right away should get the right vehicle right away. And in all this perspective, we as a company will never sold any of the asset which is there on level 90 or 100, just because we want our particular players who are the community people who have invested of their time should be get rewarded accordingly.
Right. So now, I think you briefly mentioned about NFT museum. So let's talk about a bit about NFTs. NFTs, as a collectibles, became a buzzword 2 years back, and there was a huge uplift into the building of NFT. A lot of people used to launch NFT projects, and there were a lot of trading that used to happen. And then there was a lull in the NFT domain. But now NFT has gone beyond collectibles. So how do you see, the NFT market on the collectible side, but then, NFT beyond collectibles?
Okay, so the hype got on its peak in the year 2017 and 18 when collectibles are on board app, the relevant projects who are being there have gone to a massive boom level, because this is an emerging technology which is dynamic and people start collecting it, then the prices lost up to 100x, 200x, 500x. But as we all know, if there's a buzz which is there into the crypto space, that will never going to last for a very long period of time. If you want to sustain for a next decade, then there should be a solid real world use cases which are being supporting that particular technology, plays a very vital role. So these is the momentum which has initially been there for the collectible projects. Now, if you talk about the current market space, though within, like as we all know, we are into currently the third parabolic phase of the whole crypto space at this particular moment, and Bitcoin is about to create the high rise maybe after 2 quarters. So not talking about the NFTs, but altogether a whole crypto market space is primarily will be looking out for quite some time to go on its peak. But talking about current scenarios which are being there supporting the use cases of NFTs, recently when we partnered up with one company which creates a very solid use case. This particular real estate company is based out in Sharjah, UAE, who have a very simple concept that whosoever buys, they have the real world property which is being there. Also, they have a very innovative concept, in desert, we are not able to see snow. So this is the project who can show you snow into a desert. So which create the uniqueness, and they are not willing to sell their property like into a traditional manner. They already formed up the NFTs, which are they are onto MetaWhale World and couple of with other companies also. So whosoever is buying up this particular NFT is the owner of that particular flat which is being there. So into a traditional manner, we have the flat registry papers and whole set of book kind of paper which is being there always need to be secured with us. Whereas now, if we are owning this particular NFT, that creates the ownership of this particular flat which is there into the real world. So likewise, a lot of now we are talking about an real estate company, whereas if you're talking about events, we always buy up the tickets, whereas tickets has been sold out in the form of NFTs. And likewise, the real world use cases, the more real world use cases which are being involved into the NFTs, the bigger the adoption will be.
Right. No, absolutely. I think real estate definitely combines the whole virtual walkthrough piece, but at the same time, fractional tokenization, and then buying and selling of properties that will ease out a lot of challenges. And then, of course, combining NFT, real world asset tokenization along with DeFi will solve some of the pressing challenges in the whole lending, commercial lending and mortgages market. Now, so I think you must have seen NFTs being extended on Bitcoin. I think there's a lot of craze last 2 months on NFT ordinals, Bitcoin ordinals, which are again NFTs only, but in a bit different way. So, do you see that ordinals is going to help better adoption of Bitcoin from a developer perspective or user perspective?
So talking about the development perspective, as I'm not specifically coming down from a development background, it is very hard for me to comment onto this particular thing. But as we all know, primarily we initially, as in talking about a business perspective of a metaverse company, I would rather say we all have seen the hype of specific technologies which are being there, but never going to last for more than 2 quarters. So it is always advisable for the initial 1 quarter to analyze, elaborate, and think about each and every perspective which has been involved. Though our CTO is, I probably think that he is looking out for the specific thing, and collaboratively, if there's a bigger chunk of to the market space or the market cap that we people can capture out, probably MetaWhale World would be the company that who is primarily been welcoming this specific thing.
So I would like everyone to check out Bitcoin ordinals. So ordinals is a very interesting concept. It's like it's pretty much NFTs on Bitcoin. But with a difference, like on Ethereum, when we create an NFT, there's an off-chain asset, which is the actual asset or the image of an asset is actually offline. So there's a combination of on-chain and off-chain. In the case of ordinals, everything is being put onto the on-chain itself. And it has been going crazy last couple of months. A lot of projects have launched. A lot of interesting ordinals have been launched. And Bitcoin is seeing, a lot of people who were traditionally not were using Bitcoin just as a cryptocurrency are now seeing some more use cases coming out of it. So Rahul, as you mentioned, like real estate is one, and then there are other real world assets that are coming as NFTs onto the metaverse. So what do you see from a legal regulatory perspective? Like you mentioned, you're working with a UAE based organization. So there's a VARA, concept of VARA in UAE, and then there are a few other regulations coming in. So how do you see the regulatory and legal landscape helping or, thwarting the whole metaverse progress?
Okay, so talking specifically on the legal aspect, yes, there is a massive progress specifically into the UA space, but primarily we have a bigger chunk of the market. We are already connected with the top builders, at least who are based out, be the Panchsheel Tower, who have built up the Trump Towers in Pune. I'm talking about the big massive projects, and their even founder CEOs are way too happy in progressing up with us people, building up the NFTs. But the only primarily challenge of what we people have faced even in India, that is talking about the fund momentum or the payment is the biggest problem what we people have been facing in India. Otherwise, we have already been collaborated with the top builders who are there into India, have a bigger market cap which has been involved. Even the builder lobby will be very happy, but facing quite bigger challenges into India. Whereas whenever we are talking about UAE or South of Europe and very less part of US also, collaborating getting a very good support, or the legal team can mold up the solution and can find out a loophole where the actual transaction can happen into the real world, and even the transfer even need to happen into the banking can be done with finding out couple of the new regulations or maybe a slight bit of loophole, and the transaction will be completed. Whereas in India, this is still very challenging. Otherwise, I personally think that the biggest chunk of the real estate or the other companies are been coming down from India. But again, the government is not taking the likewise decision to support up the whole together the technology as well as the transaction part, which has been involved for to the same.
Right. And so in the dimensions of legal, there have been a lot of reports and a lot of challenges people have raised about identity and reputation problems within the metaverse. So how do you think, if like, somebody can impersonate someone else in the metaverse? So how do you think, the cryptographic identity or combining that with real world identity, how these identity and reputation related problems can be solved in the metaverse?
Perfect. So as we all know that starting from to a coin or to a token perspective, I'm just talking about a basic solution which is being there, that we all are here to connect up our MetaMask, which is a decentralized wallet. And as long as we have the private keys along with us, it is very hard to catch up someone's identity. So this is the step one what we people are been facing. There is the step two, which is specifically for to a metaverse, the problem which are being facing for the digital identity. There is one company by the name of the SecureX, which is been currently working along with MetaWhale World only, or been primarily trying to find out the key problem areas where MetaWhale World is already being lacking out behind talking about the digital infrastructure or the digital identity, and later on will come down to a solution where the each and every identity, how we can verify it, or there are more mediums apart from be it the private keys and be it the Google Authenticator, what are the other tools which are being there which can make the whole infrastructure in the most secured manner.
Right. And one thing, which has always been talked in Web3 is about the level of decentralization versus the user experience. So as we know that, people still use centralized exchanges because they are very much similar to Web2. So they typically get that kind of experience that they are used to seeing in Web2 space. And that's the reason, they are not very comfortable still using the MetaMask or any other wallet and do a complete decentralized transaction on a DEX or a DeFi platform. So, and same goes for Metaverse, because again, to capture the full value of it, full experience of it, it needs to be decentralized. So how do you see this panning out in the next few years, or some initiatives where people are solving the challenges of UX so that more and more users can start adopting Web3, including Metaverse?
Okay, so the most important thing, like people who are already there into the space since maybe 2017, 18, 19 have already started using decentralized basis because they have already gone through a lot of things. In 2017 and 18, I think primarily more than 116 centralized exchanges have been ramped down, and likewise the similar momentum will happen with a lot of future exchanges also. Might happen. We have already seen a recent example with FTX. People have lost up their real world money, their whole together lifetime savings which are being involved. So people who are very serious about securing their fund for last 5 years or maybe a year's time are very much focused on using up the decentralized wallets, or moreover the cold wallets. People are now actively been using initially people are not using very much Ledger, Treasure or SafePal, but nowadays people are very curious as to whatever they have into their spot wallet, which is already there into a centralized exchange. They usually say that I've already put it into a cold wallet or maybe a decentralized wallet because I'm not using these kind of funds for a year's time. Maybe down the line after 2 years, I will think about these kind of funds. Whereas currently a lot of people will only put up their funds which they might be trading, or the traders, which we require onto a centralized exchange, or the another which is being required for initially a week's time or a 2 weeks time that we wanted to buy it or sell it. Talking about the experience, yes, collaboratively, a lot of people are not using, still not using MetaMask or maybe another decentralized wallet, is just because the overall complication. A lot of people are still not able to understand how to securely keep your seed phrase or maybe the private key into the right place. One of my friend have actually told me that he forgot his private key and what needs to be done, and he have a pretty good amount of money there, which is there into the MetaMask. So that is one of the key problem, that there's none solution according to my knowledge which has been there as soon as your private keys are lost. Whereas into a centralized place, people are still feeling comfortable because all they need to do is to click on a forget password button and they can regenerate with the OTP, email verification, and can their new password which is being generated, where this particular thing is not available onto a decentralized wallet which is being available. Likewise, UX plays a very vital role. If some collaboratively we can ensure individual into a very layman step 1, 2, 3 kind of formation where they can secure up their private keys into the right order and can educate them into the same direction, would be much appreciated.
Right. I think that's definitely very interesting. So now we are seeing a trend post-COVID. The concept of remote working or work from home has increased a lot. So how do you see this trend panning out with Metaverse? Like, is it going to increase further because Metaverse is going to enable those kind of experiences so that you don't need to be in physical office anymore? So what are your views, how you see the whole working concept getting evolved in the next few years?
I strongly believe that work from home or work from anywhere would be the right concept, because as far as our particular tech team is concerned, out of 14 people, like 7 or 8 people keep on roaming. Somebody is in Himachal, the other one is in Uttarakhand, another one is roaming in the third world country altogether, and ultimately they're getting the work done into their mind is at their peace, and they're working like maybe 12, 16, more than what these people are going to do already there into the office space, because they are working to its optimum level. Whereas there might be a bigger chunk of the jobs which are been coming up. A lot of people actually do not wanted to sit in their office cubicle and wanted to explore up the nature or whatever they like into their personal life and getting the work done. So a lot of bigger chunk of jobs are also being coming down into the metaverse space. So be it the metaverse, maybe the coding perspective, or I would say if you're talking about the blockchainizing the tech, the Solidity guys come into the picture. They can work from anywhere. Or I would rather say marketing professionals are also being coming to improve the visibility and to earn money via the marketing campaign. They can work from anywhere, or primarily into an intern into a crypto industry mentorship program, crypto communities into the DAO, or I would say metaverse game companies. A lot of bigger space of the individuals are coming down into the work from home model or work from anywhere kind of stuff. Would already been there and will be extended.
Right. So now I think we can cover some of the questions by the attendees. So we've got anonymous attendee. So the question is, he wants to know what is your take on security and privacy, and how security and privacy, especially of data, it may be user data, it may be some of the transactional data. So how that is being taken care of in the metaverse.
So talking specifically about MetaWhale World, as we have purely built onto a decentralized network, we are not securing the addresses or any other data which is being combined, because any which ways, we do not have the user data in terms of their name, their contact number, email ID. We have never asked for it. We have never will ask for it. The only time where your direct identity is getting exposed as soon as you're making up the payment, and the making of the payment is with the metamask only, which is a decentralized wallet, and ultimately the individual is approving the same transaction. So collaboratively, we have not kept our database into a centralized model for a very good reason, that we are not very interested in keeping up the user data, and moreover to burden up our particular servers also.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I'll just add to this answer. So with Zeeve also, what we are doing to help various metaverses, NFT marketplaces, gaming platforms, etc., is one, we are providing decentralized infrastructure. So your data is not residing within one cloud environment or one instance or couple of instances. Like typically there are centralized Web3 infrastructure providers. So we have distributed the whole backend infrastructure so that different nodes reside on different regions and different cloud providers, or even on-premise and user devices, so that your data is highly distributed. Second, we have a service for decentralized storage called ZDFS, which again helps, if there are any assets that you want to store in a completely decentralized manner. Like in the case of NFTs, if you want to store your NFT assets, the off-chain assets, or any other data that you use within the metaverse, you can use ZDFS. It's a pure API service. You can simply plug that as a developer or as a startup into your app, and you can start using it. So these are some of the ways through which privacy and security are being taken care of. At the protocol level, there are few developments right now. You must have seen at the protocol level, the whole zero knowledge proof, I think, is the hottest thing right now. There are quite a few. In fact, Polygon is coming up with a mainnet launch in March for their zk-AVM, and there are various other projects that are coming up. So that again, definitely will improve on the scalability and transaction throughput side. But based on zero knowledge proof, there are a lot of privacy layers that are being built at the protocol level and beyond that. And at the application and infrastructure level, as I mentioned, we at Zeeve are doing quite a few things to ensure privacy, especially and for the enterprises in the enterprises use case. But when we talk about metaverse generally, as a whole. There's another question: does MetaWhale sell or working on launching VR or AR hardware?
That is one of the major reason we have recently partnered up with At., because they have already launched up their VR headset, which has been available. And initially we thought that we will be going down into the specific hardware domain, but later on realized that this is not something that we'll be building out, but already partnered up with a very good company which is made in India. So very proud of to the same. And primarily, if anybody is looking out for any hardware solution, then we have our partner company which is already supporting us.
Right. So any other question, anyone who would like to ask? Anything you would like to know about NFT or metaverse or decentralized gaming? So Rahul, what do you think, how much traction you are seeing from in India, specifically from a user side, from adoption side, and from what are your perceptions about how the regulatory space is going to pan out specifically in India?
No, we all are trying, got connected to very good people onto the political side, also have sit with them in person, elaborated what exactly MetaWhale World is trying to build. But I think there are wise people who are already there onto the government space, but there are various also factor when we talk about the decision-making ability, which is there specifically in India, talking about the political areas. I think probably it will still take a very long period of time. To be very much frank with you, that we are already connected with the people who are there, who can make up the strategies, can implement it for the nation. When I sat with them in person and discuss everything in detail, specifically for our company and for the other companies, we all can see a chunk of momentum maybe into the near future that this is the good news, then the bad news, then the good news, then the bad news. But again, as the result, I personally think that eventually it will take a bit longer time to get it fully executed, legalized, specifically into a country like India.
Right. So I think we don't have any. Okay, I think there's. What blockchain MetaWhale is using? Will it be supporting multiple chains in future? And if so, what kind of interoperability we can see from end user perspective?
Perfect. So MetaWhale World is currently being supporting 3 blockchain, which is Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and Polygon networks. People who have built up their particular custom token can put up their particular NFTs into their likewise. Like we currently have it labeled a company, which is also crypto exchange, VIPS Finstock. They do have their own native token by the name VIPS, which is built on Binance Smart Chain, and they have come up with their whole particular custom NFT marketplace along with us only, which is there onto a first floor. We have built up the museum. The first floor belongs to the VIPS NFT marketplace, and they are selling all their NFTs into their native token, which is built on Binance Smart Chain only. And yes, into the near future, yes, collaborative, been looking out for the new companies to collaborate with us so that we can put more and more projects along with MetaWhale World and can help us in the effectiveness project. If any project who already have built up their token and wanted to sell their own particular NFT collection into their native token, yes, you are more than welcome.
Right. So I think MetaWhale, as Rahul mentioned, has taken pretty good choices as far as the choice of protocol is concerned. Polygon being one of the it's a leading layer 2 protocol. And then apart from that, now Arbitrum is picking up very much, especially on the DeFi side. And there are quite a few other protocols like Solana, and then the whole substrate ecosystem, quite a few parachains, and within the Polkadot ecosystem who are very pro EVM based and pretty sound experience. You can build on them if you're building any NFT. So multi-chain definitely is a future, because still there are a lot of preferences. There is no one clear or single winner in the market, and we are going to see that for quite some time, where multiple protocols will coexist. So of course interoperability becomes a big thing. So there are quite a few initiatives in the interoperability space also, like Avalanche has recently launched interoperability with Ethereum, and then similarly there are various other projects who are creating interoperability among multiple chains, so that you mint asset on one chain and you will be able to sell that asset on another chain. So these initiatives are happening as we talk. So one question is, Zeeve working with MetaWhale? Yes, we are working with Metaverse, MetaWhale, and we are working with quite a few other NFT, DeFi. As I mentioned, we have more than 17,000 developers today on the platform, and quite a few Web3 startups who are building on Zeeve. One question is for Rahul, can we say MetaWhale is like Sandbox, providing virtual space?
Okay, so talking just about the UI side, I will not talk about the other factors which are already, because Sandbox have started off their journey in 2017 and 2019, already a leading player. We all have learned a lot of things from the specific company, but giving a quick, when we only talk about the UI as well as the UX part, there's a huge difference when we specifically talk about a Super Mario or a Call of Duty. If anybody have played it, a low graphical representation and objects which are not clearly being visible, and a full 4K kind of quality. So this is the only difference what we people are currently aggressively working on, is the experience part. Whereas in Sandbox, everything you are able to see is gives you a early 80s vibes of a Super Mario, whereas when you come to MetaWhale World, you will see a 4K kind of quality, and whatever your digital avatar, anything which has been happening inside MetaWhale World would ensure you at least a bigger, smoother quality at least.
And with 5G coming in, I think there would be sufficient internet bandwidth to enjoy that 4K kind of experience.
Certainly.
Right, so I think we don't have any further questions. So thanks a lot, Rahul. I think it was a very nice conversation. Users learned a lot from you and what MetaWhale is doing, and generally about Metaverse, NFTs, what's happening in this space. And I think thanks to everyone who has attended the series today. I think there were some very good questions, and I hope we have been able to answer. If there would be any other questions, you can always reach out to Rahul or me. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can also connect us, join our community on Telegram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So keep building. Rahul, anything you would like to say as a thank you?
Thank you so much for the entire team of Zeeve for coordinating this whole event in the most smoothest manner. And thank you so much, Ravi sir, specifically for inviting us and giving your precious time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, everyone. And do follow us on our website and see upcoming events. We continue to host webinars, talk series, talking about various domains within the Web3 space. And we try to simplify some of the complex topics, what is the latest that is happening. And we continue to help Web3 startups, developers with a lot of information, both technically as well as on the business side, whether you want to understand token economics or business models, or whether you want to understand how to write code and utilize Zeeve APIs or nodes to start your Web3 journey. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.